Watch this full series at the links in the description below and subscribe to our YouTube channel to watch new mental health videos every week. Hey YouTube, Kyle Kittleson here with MedCircle with Dr. Judy Ho, excellent, and Callie the Lab, who's just warming my feet here. We just finished filming a series all about provider burnout, and we're gonna give you some tips, or Dr. Judy will give you some tips on how to prevent and address your provider burnout if you are in fact experiencing that. But before we get into that, what is provider burnout?
Okay, so provider burnout is a chronic sense of stress that has been unaddressed that relate directly to one's occupational hazards, things that they've been doing at work, things that are coming up at work that are stressing them out, that has been going on for maybe months or even years. And the difference between provider burnout and other types of things is that it's not just any life stress, it's something that comes from your work, and stresses relate to your job.
And kind of on the flip side of that, in the series we just filmed available at medcircle.com, you talked about compassion fatigue. What is that?
So compassion fatigue is really interesting. It's really that sense of empathy that has gone too deep for your patients, or maybe a set of your patients, or people that you're taking care of as a provider, and gets to the point where you're so inundated with it that it's so visceral for you that you might actually develop secondary trauma as a result. You almost feel like just as helpless as some of your patients, or carrying some of the burdens that you think they might be carrying.
Yes. Well, we're going to go through some tips right now, but I want you guys to leave a comment on this video on something that has worked for you in addressing your burnout. I want this video to be a nice place where we can all learn from each other. So leave your comments below. Dr. Judy, what is your first tip?
Okay, so if you find yourself with symptoms of burnout or compassion fatigue, there's a couple of different things that we can do. The first one, my favorite, is addressing your values.
Yes.
Aligning with your values. We spend so much time as a society talking about goals and things that we can check off. Well, values are not things that you can check off. These are kind of ideals that you want to hold your life to, things that you want to be remembered for, ways that you want to live your life. So you always want certain values in your life, and everybody has their top 5 or 10. And I bet that if you haven't looked at it in a while, you haven't really done everything that you can to make your life more meaningful on a day-to-day basis.
Yes, and Dr. Judy has a great way to determine what your most important values are. Here's an inside look from the series that we just shot.
Sometimes we need to take care of ourselves before we can take care of other people well. And unfortunately, burnout happens because over time, you've just stopped addressing the things that come up for you, thinking I'm just gonna soldier on and keep pushing through it. Well, eventually you can't push through it. And if you don't address those signs of burnout, then full-scale depression can occur, possibly other consequences that we talked about, like alcohol and substance abuse. I mean, all of these things are possible. You need to sort of take a look at, like, when you wake up in the morning, do you still feel excited to go to work? Like, those are like quick little things to ask yourself. And you're not gonna be excited about every single day, but like if you take this inventory even just over a week, and out of those 5 days, like 4 out of 5, you're just not excited to go to work, I think you might possibly be going towards burnout. Doesn't mean that you're fully there, but it's like, that sucks that you have so much of your life, your awake hours, that you're just not looking forward to.
Yeah, 4 out of 7 days a week, you're not excited about doing something.
At all. Yeah, like that's kind of, that means you have to take a deeper look. I think that that's one thing. Or also, if you always just kind of think about work as, it's this thing I have to check off, and then I can do the rest of my life, which is fun. Like if it's that much of a difference, I think that also might show you that you might be veering towards burnout.
If you're working for the weekend, that's an issue.
Yes, and we know a lot of people like that.
My number one value is honesty. What is yours?
I love that. Mine is integrity.
Integrity, very good. All right, what's your second tip?
So my second tip is social connectedness. So we know from research that human beings, when we don't have social connectedness, we die. We literally physically die. We emotionally feel deprived. And it doesn't matter if you're an extrovert or an introvert, it's really important to still connect with your loved ones and to have meaningful social interaction. And people will sometimes say, I'm just too busy and I don't have time. Well, that's a problem, because the more you isolate yourself, the more you're gonna be prone to that burnout that's unaddressed. And so even something simple as picking up the phone to call somebody on your way home from work, or just scheduling a quick little coffee date with somebody that you haven't seen in a while but means something to you, those are some really easy ways to implement that tip right away.
Yeah, when I lived in Florida, I was going through my own version of a burnout, and one of the best things I did was go and join a few groups and organizations that were centered around topics that I liked, and it really made a difference.
Yeah.
What is tip number 3? 3?
So tip number 3 is engaging in hobbies. And so again, you're working so hard. I don't have time for hobbies. That's for a kid. Yep. No, it's for everybody. And I would highly suggest that you engage in a hobby that doesn't involve you checking off something off of a list, some kind of goal associated with it. Just do the hobby for the hobby's enjoyment. You mean
don't go into a hobby where you have to compete and be the best at it?
Yeah, exactly. Right. I mean, certainly if that really gets you going, you can have a couple hobbies like that. But also, I invite you to do a hobby that doesn't really have any foreseeable goal or first place, second place. None of that is part of the hobby.
Right.
So I gave an example in our series of flying a kite because I
haven't done that since I was 4.
I haven't done that. Yeah. And I guess you have to get in the air. I hope you're successful at that. But there's no real you just kind of fly a kite for as long as it's fun for you.
Yeah. I actually might start knitting after we shot our series because you brought it up 3 different times and I thought I could really knit, I feel like.
I used to really like doing lanyards, and actually just last week I bought a bunch of lanyard materials because I used to like it as a kid.
What you preach.
I'm trying, yes.
Hey, if you know any good place to start learning to knit, hit me up because I am a novice new knitter.
Yes.
All right, that was tip number 3. Let's go into number 4.
Okay, number 4, really important one. Somewhat easy, but super crucial is sleep. Oh my goodness. Again, a lot of providers have this martyr kind of thinking, no, I'm not going to sleep. I'm going to sacrifice my sleep and work on my work and patience and this and that. Well, you're not going to be at your best because sleep helps to restore your immune system. Sleep helps you improve your memory and concentration. Sleep helps you with emotion regulation and decision making. So we need all of those things for you to be at your best at work and to reduce burnout. And so if you don't have a sleep hygiene, a sleep routine, you need to have one.
Yes.
You need to have a wind down period. You want to try to make sure that you go to sleep around the same time every day and that you wake up around the same time every day. You want to make sure that your sleep area is free of other distractions. Don't bring your laptop into bed. Don't do that. And I also say too that if you can, always downshift your environment before you go to sleep. A lot of people say just dim the lights, keep things on that red-orange tint as opposed to the blue tint of your iPhone or iPad. So all of those things are really important. And so I think sleep is something that we neglect a lot. The newest research says that you don't necessarily need 8 hours, that a lot of people do really well on 6.5 to 7.5, but at least aim for that much every night.
Yeah. And actually, these are my Felix Gray glasses, which block blue light, and nice. I have found that since I started using them maybe 8 months ago, I sleep better and get to sleep faster because all day long I'm not getting blue light into my eyes, which is awesome. All right, tip number 5.
Okay, tip number 5 is a healthy diet, or at least a healthier diet.
Yes.
I think sometimes when we're stressed, there's a lot of emotional eating that can happen. It's almost okay, I'm just gonna eat my feelings.
That's what I do.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then you feel worse about yourself, and then you have no energy because you're all lethargic from all the food. So I say try your best to make good food choices. I find that a lot of people have a hard time making better food choices later into the night. So you have to have a place where you say, you know what, I'm just gonna put something in place. I'm not gonna eat after 9 p.m.
Right.
Unless you're completely starving after 9, you can sip some tea, you can have some juice, but just don't even put that on the table. Sometimes that's really helpful just to not have that on the table. And I also think that good nutrition isn't necessarily about, not eating the things that you like, but it's about moderation. And again, when you are emotional, you will just eat the whole bag of fries and order a second one instead of, let me just eat half a bag and put one away for later. And so I think some of these things are just more about mindfulness. We don't practice mindful eating enough. And if we were to practice mindful eating, these would kind of naturally fall into place. And so when you're eating, don't do anything else. People sometimes will just be shoveling food while they're watching Netflix, and
absolutely,
it's then you just kind of eat all kinds of stuff. And then I think the other thing is when they think they want a second helping, they just go towards it. But if you set a timer for 15 to 20 minutes, most of those cravings that are not necessary for actual you feeling fulfilled goes away.
Yes.
So in 20 minutes, you don't even want your second serving.
Woo! Good tips, like it. All right, final one.
Final tip is exercise.
Yeah.
That's one of the first things that goes off the rails, along with healthy eating. But that is one of the first things that goes off the rail when people start burning out.
I know.
I don't have time to exercise.
I know.
But you do, and you should schedule it in like anything else, like a meeting.
That's right. Make the time.
Yes. And also, everything doesn't have to be, a crazy workout fest. Everything doesn't have to be CrossFit,
Right.
workout can be 20 minutes. Some of my friends really stand by these like 7 or 8 minute workouts that they do, like Tabata style. Like there's a lot of different ways that you can do this in a short amount of time. And I would suggest that you at least do this 3 to 5 times a week, even if it's just a 20-minute walk. Walk to the grocery store if you're just picking up one thing that's not too heavy. Why do you have to drive there? You know, that is your exercise. And I also think that it's really helpful when you schedule it in, like you schedule a meeting at work or a patient session at work, that you just put it in your calendar and that way it's blocked out.
It's just, that's what's going to happen during that time. What I started doing this week actually is stretching while I brush my teeth. And so twice a day I get 2 minutes of stretching in. It's not very long, but it makes me feel so good getting into bed, all being all stretched out. And then first thing in the morning, you're brushing your teeth, you're stretching. It's great. And that's
so
exercise.
Smart. You know what? I need to start doing that because I'm starting to get runner's knees a little bit. So I think I need to up my stretching routine.
That's my gift to you. Finally, I gave you a piece of advice. Yes.
I'm going to start stretching while I brush my teeth. That's wonderful.
Provider burnout is absolutely a real thing. And Dr. Judy Ho has gone through all of the signs, symptoms, behaviors, and techniques to prevent it and treat it in our new MedCircle series. Use the links below to check that out. Thanks for watching this video. I'm Kyle Kittleson. And remember, whatever you're going through, you got this. Thanks for watching. Check out the links below for more information on how to access this full series, and subscribe to our YouTube channel to watch new mental health videos every week. Did you like what you heard in this video? If you want to ask a MedCircle doctor a question directly, you can learn how by visiting the links in the description below.